I need you to stop talking about the housing and listen to the
I hear
situation
you.
not when you're saying you hear me. Please let me speak.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm interrupted. That's why it is important to listen. I said something like, you need to calm down, calm down. No, that is just going to make it worse.
I'm
If you
trying to
let them speak,
validate
and make,
you.
but I
And
don't
I
need
don't
I
need
don't need validation. I
Thank
don't
you for
need that.
telling me that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I turned in the crime about Natalie. I want you to know I'm doing everything I can for you. And maybe you just need me to listen to you right now. And I'm sorry for
I do
interrupting.
need you to listen. I need you to listen to understand.
Yeah.
That's the important part. I don't need validation. I don't
Okay.
need I'm sorry's, and I get
Nope.
you and I understand. All right. So anyway, um, the situations with housing is that I had housing in Chapel, Nebraska, before Natalie was killed, but nobody would do anything about the abuse. I was socially isolated and I couldn't see my friends or family. Also, all of the services in Nebraska that I was running to, they were all taking my money. None of them were doing anything about the abuse. None of them were trying to turn it in. Every excuse they had in the book, from jurisdiction to anything else, but it turns out jurisdiction is BS. Everything that they did to help Natalie Bollinger try to frame me is illegal, but it's somehow magically okay because she's pretty and female. Well, now she's dead. With the housing in Chapel, Nebraska, before she died, I was there. I was doing all the services, and they kept telling me I had to go to Colorado. So now I was spending a bunch of money so that I could drive 60 miles per week, every single week, so that I could go to the dual diagnosis clinic with Nicole Peralta, and Tamara was supposed to be the caseworker. Tamara had a son who's autistic, so he quit. So she quit.
Yes.
But she was able to get disability. But the thing is, I was never able to, to finish all the stuff to get me a real advocate, like, because I don't have a parent or guardian. And instead of trying to help me to get a guardian when I was being blown off and these people were taking advantage of me and they were only getting away with it because I didn't have a guardian, that allows them to force me to go into the police alone with no protections, no rights. When you're assaulted by a police officer like I was after Natalie was killed, even if they drop the charges, the fact is that that's on your record for the rest of your life. Every officer that you go to treats you like crap. I came here the first time, the second time, the third time. I came here repeatedly. I was sent over there to the
Yeah.
aging and disability. I was sent to TFCC. Like, none of you understand that even if I have a place, I need someone to help me do the paperwork. That's why I come into your office.
Yeah.
That's why I went to TFCC. All they cared about to talk me up as a doctor. It says doctor at the beginning of her name. She's running for the school board, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says Dr. Danelle Boggs.
Yeah.
So I go there. I talk to Dr. Danelle Boggs. I tell her about the abuse that I'm taking. She says that she quit her job at TFCC because of how corrupt the system is.
Oh, wow.
Well, you would think that instead of telling her client that she would help to turn it in. But no, then there's hundreds of homeless people all over the place that I have recorded. They're going through the same thing. When they're abused into homelessness, they're treated like they're junkies. Say, oh, well, you know, he's on drugs, so it's okay to rape him. Or she's on drugs, so it's okay to rape her. Now, there's a lot of crimes that were committed in Nebraska where jurisdiction didn't matter. I had to try to turn in officers to the officers who committed the crimes.
Oh, wow. That's almost impossible.
It is
My
impossible. That's why
God.
we're supposed to come to a mandated reporter and they call the police.
Yeah.
And if they're busy not doing their jobs, are they really going to come back later and go, oh,
Calling the police. So I think it's good we have the investigator. But she isn't available for a day or two. I don't know. The only emergency thing we could do is police, and I don't know if that'd be helpful, Sean.
let's see, everybody types that. Most of the people who I went to for help, my friends who never came forward, I can show you how they're afraid of the police.
No, I just
All right,
don't.
that's one of the things that's
Yeah.
on my paperwork is the explanation of why it is
Yeah.
we're supposed to go to friends or family first.
This is Well, this is why we've reported to the right people, but
But I need to be able to not be interrupted by validations or
Yeah,
telling me
no.
how it works or how it doesn't. I know how it's supposed to,
well,
and I
you
know
know
how it
there's no
doesn't.
solution right now, which is
There is a solution.
what's that? Which is the problem.
The solution is taking my safety and my evidence into account. The police are not supposed to interview me alone. None of you are. You're supposed to have another agency there so that neither one of you has the power to talk over me or overpower me or scare me or intimidate me. And having two mandated reporters from different agencies is supposed to make it so that it's checks and balances. The people from TFCC aren't going to break the law because the police are there, and the police won't break the law because TFCC is there.
Yeah.
But TFCC didn't do that. Instead, they billed my Medicare and Medicaid. Did you trim that in?
Yes, I did. I wrote it down and I put in the full report. Natalie, TFCC, the hospital, the police officer. You gave me their names. Absolutely. I have the full report written down, every word you told me.
That's the thing.
I just
See,
need that.
even after that last week, like somebody should have been called last week.
Yeah.
As far as the police go, yes, a state police officer does need to be called. He needs to come here with Adult Protective Services.
Okay. Do you want me to call them? Do you want my manager to call them? The police?
It's got to be the state police, and somebody's got to be there instead of law enforcement because they don't follow the mandated reporter
So
laws.
state police is supposed to be here with, who did you say?
Adult Protective
Adult
Services.
Protective Services.
That's the thing, is that when it's a local agency, I have to go to another agency. I keep getting sent to the police to turn in the police, and I can't do that alone because I have communication difficulties when I'm scared. And that's paramount to send in somebody to their rapist to turn in the rapist. It's not right.
No, it's not.
I mean, obviously the conditions I'm living in are extremely unhealthy. My back, I have to sleep in this thing. My back is killing me right now. It kills me every day. I'm not following the doctor's instructions right now because I literally can't. With Adult Protective Services and the police are supposed to coordinate to help get me a place that's safe for me to at least make the report. But with 6 years worth of it, it's all piled up. I can't keep going back to places like Region 1 and move one end of the country to the other. None of these places help. They literally all commit Medicare and Medicaid fraud. None of them get multiple mandated reporters. Tell me they're mandated reporters, and they're literally not. To that lady at what's it called? Your friend Joy. Like, I got a place when I had housing. I was being harmed by people who wanted to threaten to kill me.
Wow.
Natalie was killed in Nebraska, and the people threatening to kill me and the harassing numbers and all that, the harassing phone calls never stopped. Police officers were able to keep me from getting in contact with them by saying that I have to answer restricted numbers. You have any idea how many restricted numbers I have huffing and puffing and breathing heavy and telling me they're going to kill my family, or saying, "Why'd you let your sense out?" Like, come on, fucking leave me alone. But then I have a irate. I deserve to be locked up. I am mentally ill. So
Does your back hurt sitting down like that?
my back always
Oh
hurts.
God, I bet.
Anyway, the situation with the housing is that they weren't allowing me. They were literally on the news because they were. What is her name? Was in charge of Sydney housing and the Chapel housing. But Nancy and Cindy, they were the ones that I got housing with, but they refused to give me my housing paperwork. I went in alone, and they kept doing the talk over me and telling me I got to do a bunch of stuff I'm not capable of doing. If I don't look you in the eyes, I'm sorry. It's more, which is why I'm holding my cane.
Thanks for telling me.
When I went to stupid car. Like, I didn't mean for my cane to go flying like that. But that right there, I could go to jail for because somebody takes it wrong. And I did mean to hit my car. I just wasn't trying to scare anybody.
And I understand. It did scare me, but you stopped.
But it scared me too because it almost hit me.
Well, don't do that to yourself.
It's easy to pile in and out of that when it's extended. It's not so easy.
I
So
saw it.
I got it because it does this,
I
but when
think
it
that
does
made
that,
it
it
even more
scares me.
scary.
It just went whoo.
I know. I'm like, oh my god, he's breaking it. So, could you trust me to walk alongside you a bit and be there for? Like, signing you up for more healthcare, talking to the investigator with you so you're not alone.
Yes, ma'am. The Adult Protective Services has to be there too. It can't just be talking because
No.
I have communication issues, obviously. Also, in the fact that I'm afraid to go out onto the streets, I have to. August 28th, I need to write that down as well. But the housing in Chapel, I had to break the windows in Chapel, Nebraska in my low-income housing. I'm not allowed into low-income housing anywhere in the nation until I had a rental history for 2 years. That's important. People need to stop pushing housing. One of the things with that is a lot of times I can't get somebody to stop pushing something. Even after I explain it, they keep pushing it and saying, well, it could be this way. It could be. I don't care how it could be. My situation isn't how it could be. My situation is documented by evidence of how it really is in an unsafe situation. Also, if I have a mental breakdown, I get called in by Karens. Sure, my car won't start like there was yesterday. Yesterday, I couldn't shift into reverse. Facilities on the second floor. The only reason I was able to get my stuff up there is because of Jason Scudder. Jared Scudder was involved in several situations. The problem is I need to be able to sit down and write a written report where they say it doesn't work because I didn't write that. Then I say, all right, well, I keep getting told it's not on the right part. Well, what do I do? Oh, well, you can write it down on any piece. It has to be on a voluntary statement form. Well, they didn't give me a voluntary statement form. They literally, I've got over a dozen officers refusing to give me one. So give me a pad of paper and a pen. But the thing is, I still don't have a place to process it. When people want to send me to these different agencies that they think they're supposed to fix it, those agencies can help if you have a friend or family member when it first happens. When it's just civilians committing crimes against you, when it's just Tim Beeson calling you up and threatening to kill you and your friends and family. When it's just people like Derek Apodaca assaulting me. And by the way, those are things that actually happened in the situation with Natalie. The thing is that if I could set up my computer somewhere and show an investigator, and that's the thing is never allow me that. I tell them, hey, you're supposed to provide the victim with that. Every police station is supposed to have at least 2 interrogation rooms.
If I found this investigator from Adult and Protective Services, and I called you from a number that's not restricted, if I called you from like my number,
I'd have to screen it, and I would need assistance with working with my answering machine. I don't know how to work it, and I could give you the number for that phone, but I'd have to set up the answering machine because I don't know how to work it.
Okay. Dang it.
And the other thing is, I was told by lawyers that I have to record everything, but nobody's going to do anything without a friend or family member, which has been the case.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
I'm your friend.
With the housing
sit
thing.
With you with them, if you let me.
Yes, ma'am. With the housing thing in Chapel, Nebraska, the first time, I had to move out because I didn't have the money to pay rent there and pay rent at Kenneth Wilson and Leah Plunkett's. Once I moved out of there because I was going to see a guy named Jeff Ritter and Kara Heller. They're both professionals, both mandated reporters. Jeff Ritter worked through the Colorado Coalition of the Homeless. I was a hold of him through a therapist that I used to know named Nicole Jarrell. She's also one of the people who sexually assaulted me. She stabbed me in the butthole with a carrot, and it's a funny story, but it's not funny.
No, sound like it. Sorry.
We stopped being friends years ago over that, but when people are hurting you and threatening to kill you and assaulting you, you reach out to desperate people. Or you reach out to people in desperation. I knew that she was a therapist. She sent me to Jeff Ritter. He hooked me up with Kara Heller from Colorado Coalition of the Homeless as well.
Okay.
And they were supposed to be helping me since the people at Region 2 Nebraska didn't do that.
Yeah.
That's Nicole Peralta and Tamara. Tamara was a badass, just so you know. She did everything we're supposed to.
Oh, good.
But
I like her.
She never finished because her son's autistic, and she quit her job because her ultimate fear is her son going through the terror that I had gone through just by that point.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so then there was a situation where I was at Ken and Leah's after I'd left the low income. I had a lot of people who were involved in the situation, and that didn't end up working out either. I mean, the mandated reporters starting all the way in Virginia didn't do their jobs. But I was dehydrated, and I have the paperwork about that. And in all of my court paperwork, my predators in law enforcement were able to keep all of the evidence out by calling me mentally ill. Natalie Bollinger and her family were able to gaslight people into not hearing me by calling me mentally ill. And then later on, Scott DeCosta, who's the sheriff of Dual County, which is where Chapel, Nebraska is, where I was in housing.
Yeah.
He'd been committing crimes with his deputies for years before that. So when I had to try to turn him in, and I had to try to get an officer there and Adult Protective Services, it always ended up being a situation where I'm literally having to turn in Scott DeCosta.
Yeah.
So over 2 years after Natalie was killed in 2019 in December, after contacting all the people I was supposed to, them giving me the runaround, pretending that I'm not disabled when it suits them, and then calling me mentally ill when it suits them, it's all felonious, and I've had to look up the laws and know the laws, but nobody else knows what their jobs are.
Wow.
So if that was a smartphone right there, I could show it.
Yeah. Well, we need to get this investigator, and we need to sit down in a room with you. If they'll let me, I will be in that room with you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's your friend.
If I have a room I can sit down and just write stuff with, in peace and quiet with my evidence. But that's the thing, is I don't need housing that'll show up if I'm lucky in 6 months. The thing is that turning in the evidence immediately is the most important thing. With it being 6 years worth of it backed up, it's horrible.
Communal housing where you live with other people, and then you come here and meet with the investigator. I'm worried about your back. I'm worried about the other things you said. And I know that sounds like a push-off, but you need stability to be able to fight this, sir.
And that's the thing, is that even with stability, I'm stuck in this area now.
Yeah.
I can't go back to TFCC. I can't go back to Frontliners. I can't go back to Denny's. I can't go to Starbucks. I can't go back to a lot of different places. Just because when people were predatory towards me there, the police didn't do their jobs, didn't call any of the witnesses. There's Dallas Palmer, and there's the whole Scudder family, and there's a lot of other people too. There was also the evidence that was on the cameras, but instead the officers talked over me and took advantage of the fact that I'm alone. As far as communal housing, yes, absolutely, we can push that and get that. But as far as processing the evidence, I still won't be able to.
Is there Thank you. He was wondering if we'd like to see if someone can do a long-term care and I can sit during that. Can I sit with you for getting the communal housing medical?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want an appointment for that still?
But the thing is that my safety and my evidence should have been the most important thing 6 years ago. I'm still running through this.
I know.
Are you able
And Adults and Protective Services needs to get here.
I can barely step on and off the curb.
So,
are you able to do an appointment today? I can go see if we have anything
you want to
available.
go
Yes,
in?
ma'am. But I also want to. I'm driving a car. You can see that. It's not safe for me to drive. I have to drive to go to all these appointments. I can't walk to all of them, and
No.
It's not safe because of physical pain from sitting in my seat and living in my seat. It's not safe because of the physical pain from abuse by law enforcement officers. It's not safe for me to drive because mentally I always miss my loved ones and I'm always in pain.
Oh.
I am
Can I
so
pick up your
terribly
phone for you?
Can I
I'm
see
sorry.
that you got an appointment?
Yeah, let's go in
Yes,
and get you an
ma'am.
appointment.
All right.
You don't have to go anywhere to get an appointment.
Yes, let me see what we can do.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, long-term care. Thank you.
You bet.
I'll give Liz back her pen.
Do you guys have a coffee machine that works yet?
Oh, we do. We got a new one. It's super slow, but do you need copies?
Will you make copies of those? And because I don't have the ability to get mail, nobody helps me to organize that. They're going to take away my disability money at the end of the month because I don't have a way to get help to get make sure the stuff the Direct Express wants is done. That didn't come out right. I'm sorry. That's my communication.
The printer started making noises too. We have to figure something out. I could do it. Can you message Christine and let her know we have a worker and I can do it? Maybe it's Saturday. Okay. And I'm gonna yeah, sorry. And yes, no work.
That's it.
Yes, no work is available, but I just do it. You don't get back. Is that not required? Yeah. No, it's fine. I know. Okay. ¿You don't speak Spanish? Sí. Oh, okay. Right. Hace en el 2015 yo viví aquí, dejé de vivir aquí y me moví a Texas. Y tengo dos hijas y un niño, pero And I made copies of everything.
mi nombre es Silvia Torres Sánchez y mi
I'm gonna go get
hijo
some
se
space
llama
ready for an appointment back there to get you into that housing. Well, communal living, excuse me.
Y abogado.
Page 3. Oh, I might have. Here, let me put them in order.
Y él ha sido aquí y estaba viviendo hasta los 8 años aquí.
This is
I did two pages of page 4.
this is something that if people watched, it would help out a lot. It's
Okay.
called. I think that'll make it so that it'll show up at the bottom
3
there.
ideas about autism. Oh, I'd love
That
that.
sound good,
Thank
but
you.
are actually toxic.
I will. I can't play it out here, but I'll
Sorry.
play it.
I wasn't trying to.
Okay.
I
I
didn't
have to
know
go
what
get
you
my
were doing.
space ready for you.
Yes,
I'll be
ma'am.
right back.
Entonces, él tiene 15 años ahorita. Ha salido a muy bien. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Shannon.
Hi, Shannon, I'm Sean.
It's so nice to meet you.
I'm sorry I didn't shake your hand right. I got injuries and stuff.
Oh, I thought it was just fine. Thank you.
Also, I have Tourette syndrome, so if I wink at you, I'm not hitting on you, and I'm autistic, so I'm not looking you in the eyes, but I'm also not staring at your feet. So
I understand. My son is autistic, so I have.
we have no representation.
Well, hopefully we can see what we can do to take a step in the right direction for you today.
I'm in so much pain. I'm autistic, so I have a high pain threshold. So when I say something hurts, it does hurt. We're also prone to honesty, which gets us hurt. And that's the thing about not having a friend or family member. I've helped me with this. They helped me to get housing, and once I got housing, my phone's gonna die. Everything's running out of batteries. I don't have a place to plug it in. I can't contact it when that's my.
What kind of charger do you have?
It's this kind, but it's the fact the phone isn't staying charged. It's because
Can I,
the adult protection server me, Natalie's friends and family hurt me.
get you going in the right direction? Did you get all the copies you needed?
I need those for you.
Yeah.
The stuff that I used to teach. I used to teach homeless people how to not be friends, but they get drugs and forget.
Very nice.
But this is the stuff from the hospital. There's also the stuff that it says they gave me the wrong paperwork. That's another screw up. But they don't understand that all of these clerical errors result in me not being able to have the right information to tell people that want to help. On YouTube, I put it on there. It's called Jamie Again, and the guy punches her in the back of the head and then talks about murdering people within 5 minutes. He punches her in the back of the head in the first 30 seconds. Got hold of everyone that I was supposed to, but none of the churches would help with the paperwork. They just kept running us around in circles.
Oh my.
The place that Jamie was staying at, it's
All right, we're gonna go up here. And are you ready for it?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a right. Can you hear her voice? She's right back around the corner here.
Hi, sir. If you want to have a
I'm down to 2% bad. I had one in my car.
You have to go in.
Oh, yes. I'm gonna come around to you, Sean, okay?
All right,
Put all my stuff over here.
there's also a lot of stuff that
Okay.
the evidence is not safe.
Okay, so I got this.
Yes, ma'am.
We have to plug it in right here.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay,
Yes, ma'am.
here we go.
Alright.
Short cord, but big drop
Is
right
it
there.
going?
This one's recording and this one's recording, but I'm
But
gonna
it's
turn.
charging for you?
Let it charge.
We'll see. It is.
Okay, I'm just glad it's.
It's down to 1% though.
Sean, are you allergic to peanuts or any? Do you have any allergies?
I don't have any teeth.
Okay. Well, that's not
Yeah, that's one of the things too. It's all right. There's a lady named Candace, and I record everything, and I let everybody know it. And she's kind of an addict here, and I did spend $400 on my food stamps on her last month, and she got mad, and
This is the form we need for requesting benefits for the medical that could get you into the communal housing.
the thing is, we can't wait on the communal housing
We're
for them
not.
to put me somewhere. Because they have to put me somewhere at least long enough for me to write down this stuff and get the evidence to them, or they need to send somebody to help me process. The most important thing is to see how much there is, because if people saw how much there is, they might put me out of my own misery.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Do you need help filling that out? You could tell me what to write if you would like.
Sean, what's your social security amount for monthly?
$122.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I got nerve damage from assaults by cops. So
You just take your time.
sometimes I can write well and sometimes I can't. I've been real frazzled lately. I'm really nice to the addicts. I really am. I do the best I can by them because I have to. If I'm not really nice, then I get stomped on.
Can you write your phone number down here for that other phone?
This one or the other one?
Whichever one's best for you.
That's the one that I usually record on. If somebody calls me, then it stops the recording. But
So do you want to write down the other numbers?
I don't know the other one.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if this is charging up. All right, it is. I can probably look some stuff up, I guess. What was I telling you I was going to look up?
The best phone number to reach you.
No, I mean before that. The best number to reach me is. Oh, yes, I remember she called. I can't answer numbers without screening them first.
Could you just try and then hang? It'd be an 842 number, I think, not a restricted. I want to be able to get a hold of you too.
And that's one of the problems with needing help with the phone stuff is
Yeah.
that I'm not good with that. If I'm able to do something, it's out of luck. I'd like to be able to. I wanted to sit down with a piece of paper in a room and some peace and quiet and write some stuff down. That's what I've needed this whole time. I really need that. I need to be able to turn in the predators and write it down. I need to be able to process the evidence to get it to where it needs to go. And it's 6 years worth of abuse and it's ongoing and I can't make it stop.
Sean, are you able to receive text messages? Yes?
Oh, I could
Yes,
text
ma'am.
you.
Is that a good way to get a hold
Oh
of
my
you?
God, that's genius.
It's a good way to get a hold of me, but only if you try to use it like
Text.
what do you call that?
Yes.
You're old enough to remember pagers, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, what do you usually do when somebody pages you?
You call them back. They would give you
Holy
a
God,
phone
if
number.
kids learn this.
So I will text you. That's a great way for me to be able to get in contact with you. Brilliant.
All right.
Most of my problem is I'm too old for this younger kid stuff and I'm too young for the older stuff. So everybody thinks I'm one of these retarded kids and all these kids think I'm a retarded adult. I'm like, we're all
Well, I
idiots.
guess we all are now. Can I put this stuff together for you? Well, you're unplugging your cord there.
I wanted you guys to have at least this one right here, just in case something happens. This
Thank
is
you. Okay.
from a situation that I need to turn in. I have the situation
Thank you.
recorded.
Okay.
Okay.
And I have your other statements from last week that are all turned in. So when the Adult and Protective Services lady talks to me, we will talk more about that.
I can't just keep sleeping in my car, staying out there with the crackheads and getting kicked out of every parking lot. I won't be able to stay the night anywhere. It's illegal to stay the night anywhere. And ever since I got here, everybody just pushes the housing. We need to collect the evidence and
Do you want to
have a
put your
safe
stuff in
place.
here?
They have interrogation rooms at the police office. They're supposed to let me do
We
that.
could
They
use
didn't.
that. We could use that. Yeah. I'm gonna write that down.
But they won't let me unless
Interrogation.
someone else is there.
Well, that's
And
why I would
also-
be there.
Also, you guys are supposed to have a room for that, but that's Washington State, Colorado, and Nebraska. They're required to have one.
I think
but-
the Adult and Protective Services lady has one, and maybe we could go to her building.
And that's the problem with literally not a single mandated reporter
The buck stops here.
Oh, 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 oh.
Forgot something.
My Medicare and Medicaid sent me a message
Oh yeah.
about how I have to do something or other with them, or they're not going to give me my money next month, and that needs to be important too. They did that a couple times
Okay.
before too, because I'm constantly moving from place to place.
Well, I can call Medicaid and I can call Medicare for you. Okay.
Well, this is my Direct Express card for my disability money,
Oh, okay.
but yeah. The Medicare and Medicaid, if you could,
I'll make sure that your card's okay and I'll text you if it's not.
I have it. It's the fact that all these services are taking my Medicare and Medicaid. None of them tried doing the mandated reporter
Let
job
me know how
by
it goes tomorrow.
getting a hold of Adult Protective Services and making a report that with me. Nobody does it with me. They say that they did it. They never show me any proof that they did it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is I've got hundreds of people that claim they did things that I get treated like I'm a liar for saying that they claim they did things and they never try to produce any evidence of it.
Well, we're gonna stop that right now. We're getting your evidence. So I will message you about Medicaid and see if I can do anything, okay?
It's not the Medicaid that's the major
Medicare.
issue. It's the issue is that with my Direct Express card, I need someone to call them with me and make sure they don't take away my money. And I need that done like that's one of the things that overwhelms me is that by the time I get help, I've been here for 6 months. When I first got here, I had the same
Do you have
issue.
your card with you?
My Direct Express card?
Yeah, we can call him. Let's call him.
Will you get in trouble for not going to your appointment?
I let them know I would be late. Let's go. Let's call him.
My phone's about to die.
Okay,
I'm not happy about that.
you get that card.
All right.
I'm in the lobby helping with Direct Express card real quick. So you need to talk to these guys and make sure.
Well, let me turn this off. I'll show you.